Honey's crying.
Dark pain.
Brother, alive? Mine first thief. Mine first thief. Look. I knew us. Oh, pain is shared now. Fear is lost now. I knew us. Tears and grins.
Lost.
Look! I knew us! Pain is shared now. Dark pain
Is lost now.
been searching a long time now.
Fear. Fear.
Lost.
Tears and grins. Sister? Meet.
How about friend? I'm not part of your tribe. Is that it?
Alright guys, so this is episode 1 and this is where things start to kick off.
I don't want to fight you.
So, gonna fight some of these
These guys will
leapers
kill you. Use your presence.
and doing a lot of dodging around here to start with. And I was waiting for it to give me a tutorial like it did when I played on the lower difficulty, but it didn't. So that's kind of cool. You can just jump right in and start kicking people, and you will notice that if you've played this before, that this is gonna be a carryover from the first time that I played this game. So the first time I played on just the normal difficulty, and I'm replaying, you know, now with all of my combos and stuff intact. So I think that that just makes it a better experience.
What are they?
Leapers. Miserable cast-offs left to rot in the depths of Neo-Paris.
Miserable. Monstrous, more like.
They are the abandoned children of our Sen-Sen age. Simply humans like you or I, but cast as shadows of our shame. Something we are meant to fear. Another justification for the errorist cause.
Who's there?
So now that we've been introduced to the little golems that inhabit this world, just gonna sort of look around here. There are certain points where I kind of just like to look around the area. I think that these levels have a really interesting design, like a combination of the old and the futuristic Paris, sort of mixed together with this like apocalyptic world or post-apocalyptic world. So it's really interesting. I think that it's
Okay, you need to get out of here.
very
Go
cool
find
as
Headache
far as
Tom.
aesthetics.
I told him you were back in the game.
Who?
He runs a bar at the top of Slum 404. Start by climbing out of this dump, and I'll give you directions as and when.
So the climbing mechanics are not super sophisticated. Basically, it kind of points out wherever you need to go, and you just move along in those paths. It's pretty simple, not too difficult to accomplish, and you know, the design for that is not, you know, the best I've ever seen. It's functional, so it's definitely functional as far as traversing the area and stuff, but I feel like they could have done maybe a little bit more with that, made this a little bit more of a less linear world, because I think there was such potential for it to be a little bit more open world, but they kind of put you in these sort of corridors where it just feels like, all right, I'm just gonna hold these buttons and climb along these things, and I can't really go wrong. I mean, there are a couple of places where you have maybe a few different paths you can take, but
Who is this Tommy guy?
for the most part, not.
Tommy was your closest friend, a former memory hunter who's still faithful to our cause. His bar is in a cargo hull over the canal locks in Slum 404, the Leaking Brain. You can't miss him.
Alright, so we're gonna go to the Leaking Brain. I think one of my favorite names for a bar that I've heard in a long time, and they have a really cool looking sign that you'll see when we get out here. But this is our first real glimpse of the city here, and personally I really like the design of the environments in this game. I think it's really colorful. I think, like I said, it's got that really interesting mixture of sort of past and future and apocalyptic and futuristic and
Today's specials: crunchy crab cake a la Tommy and sewer shrimps in slum sauce.
and these little robots that fly around with like menus for restaurants and things. It's just cool. I really dig it. So I messed around with the brightness on my screen just there. If you saw a little cut. Wanted to make sure that it was looking good, not washed out.
Here's the riddle. Who was that storm cloud seen flying towards Slum 404 through dawn's early light? Olga Sedova.
And so this is supposed to be like a slum area, and you'll see the contrast when we get into some of the richer districts. And the way that they designed them, they look really distinct, so you can tell when you're in sort of a more gritty slum area of town and when you are in a more sort of rich, posh area.
Where are all the people? There must be someone up here.
And so it's got your typical sort of climbing, vaulting mechanics. Sometimes the turnaround to vault doesn't work exactly right. Alright, so now we've got a combat arena, and so also got slapped there. Whenever you get low health, you want to do what I'm doing, use your combos that incorporate your health. And then once you get your health built back up, you can go for the damage combos. Be careful of the guys that jump down from the walls. You'll see the little red arrows come up, like, that have the little circle and arrow around them. That means that somebody's going to be jumping down off the wall, and you want to kind of dodge out of the way of them. The combat for this game, I really enjoyed. The sort of timing your presses and making your, combo chains and that sort of thing. I really liked it. It felt, it didn't feel button matchy like a lot of things can. And all in all, it seemed to work really well together. And like, if you time it correctly, you can do a dodge over someone and keep your combo going, which is cool. So, definitely liked the combat for this game. And if anything, I would like, more ability to sort of customize your combos and more of that. So, it was very cool. I think I'm going to show you what my combo setup is now. So, I have this short one, the short chain, and the sort of medium chain for healing. And then I have one that's a little bit longer with mostly these recharge for my abilities, and then the long one I have set up with the damage. And so you can mix these up so that you have, you know, a combination of health and damage, or recharge and damage, or recharge, healing, and damage all in one combo, and that's just preference. I like to sort of keep them separate so that, you know, in my mind when I'm thinking, alright, which combo I'm gonna do, I can sort of have in mind, okay, I need health, I'm gonna do a healing combo, or I need to recharge my abilities and cut the time off so I can do another one, I want to do this combo, or now I really just want to hit them and cause some damage, and now I'm gonna do my damage combo. It's just easier for me in my head to keep those straight. But you can set them up however you want, which is one of the really cool things I think about the game. So the ability to customize those is definitely cool. And you'll see me run through the game. I don't think that I'm going to change up the combos very much. I got a couple of specific spots in mind where I do change up my combos for specific purposes, and I'll point those out when I get there. You can knock these guys off the side. And at this point, I was going to cut this out, but I left it in because it was kind of funny. It glitched on me here. And I tried to like go into the start menu and see if that would get me out of it, but I was just stuck and not able to move, and there were no more enemies, and I don't know why that happened, but I ended up having to reload this and have to do that little fight over again. No big deal. I mean, it's this thing checkpoints you pretty good, and so it just started me back right there at the beginning of the fight with these two levers, so not too bad at all. If you can lure them over to the edge, like I said, you can knock them off, which is pretty cool. And also, there's an achievement for knocking off something like 25 of them, called Lord of the Ring. And so, that's definitely not hard to do. As you're going throughout, there are plenty of places where you can use that to your advantage. And this sequence right here is kind of interesting. I think it would have been neat if you could have maybe fought these guys on the wall, like, I don't know, pulled them down, or had a little quick time thing where you tried to shake them off of you or something. I don't know. Could have been interesting. But as it is, you just want to avoid the hot pipes. Like I said, it's a game that feels like it could have been a lot more open than it actually is. And I'm sort of undecided on whether that is a negative or not, because I think a lot of games go for this open world thing, and it really isn't necessary. It makes the game too lengthy. It starts to lose the main narrative, where you don't really care about what's happening in the story anymore because there's too much in the extra side missions and a world to explore, and it kind of detracts from the main story that you're on. And so this definitely doesn't do that, but I think a little bit to the detriment of some of the areas. They feel a little bit too linear and corridored off.
Hey, I've got the wrong girl.
So this beautiful fellow is one of the heavies, the first heavies that you're introduced to, and what he'll do is he calls in a few of the little leaper guys. He's called a Skinner, there we go, and you want to try to kill all the little guys first. So you want to focus on the leapers. When you see that exclamation point over his head, he's going to charge at you, and you can kind of dodge out of the way, but you want to be careful of that. He will charge at you from off screen, and it gets a little bit irritating sometimes because you kind of have to try to keep him in your sights while also attempting to kill all of these other little guys without him clocking you, but luckily it's not too bad. Especially this first encounter here, there's not too many of the little guys for you to have to deal with. And as soon as the red aura goes away from him, you can start taking him out. I get a little bit anal about making sure that my health is filled up, and so, you know, I like to keep doing the health combos until I get my health all the way up, and then go for the damage combos. So that is that taken care of, but I'm not even sure if you can
citizens.
All right.
kill him
I'll be
before you
Come on,
kill the
move
little
it.
guys.
Tommy's waiting for you at the leaking brain.
I want to say no. Although I've never really tried it. If you could, he would probably take a ton of damage because it's like those little guys are connected to him. It's kind of like a collective mind. He's, I guess, this game's version of the Borg, and he sort of leeches power from them being around him, and once you kill them, he's much weaker and susceptible to being murdered.
The Reconversion Project by Memorize. Humane responses to barbaric perils. Citizens of Neo Paris. The Leaper threat has been addressed.
Yes, the Leaper threat has been addressed. Notice there are no more of them anywhere at all. I like the way they put sort of propaganda and little news clips and stuff throughout the city. It helps make it feel a little bit more alive, and it kind of gives you some foreshadowing of what might be to come in the story and characters that you might interact with and stuff like that. So, pretty cool. Overall, I think
Across the floating market.
a
to that
very cool
warehouse.
setting.
It's a shortcut to Tommy's bar.
So we're going to be heading on to Tommy's bar, and this is kind of a lengthy chapter, so I believe I'm going to split it up here. So I will see you guys in the second half of episode 1. Thanks for watching.